Hey, we're your hosts.
I'm Charlotte.
And I'm Jonathan.
And we believe that one of the most valuable gifts you can give to yourself is the gift of wholeness through integrating all aspects of what it means to be human.
And in this podcast, we're bringing you insight, information, and inspiration to move from a stressful to stress-free life.
Your journey to becoming even healthier and happier starts right now.
Welcome to Wellness Theory, the podcast.
Hey everyone, it's Charlotte here today, flying solo. I have no guest and I have no co-host, Jonathan. He's not here today either. It is literally just you and me. And I have no real agenda or script for this episode. I'm literally just hit play just to have a chat with you, because a lot's been changing in our world, and it's really important that you guys perhaps are aware of what's happening with us as well, you know, because this podcast is very personal to us. At the end of the day, we started it in 2020 because our community wanted it. They was like, where's the podcast? We want a podcast. So we created it, and it's gone from strength to strength, what we're super grateful for and like super proud of actually as well, because we're like 160 something episodes in now, which is quite an achievement considering most podcasts I think don't get past like 20 episodes or something like that. So we've been pretty consistent. And we really love it. We love speaking to the guests. We love hearing your feedback. We love listening to the topics that you want us to cover and then going out and finding the right people for you. We love the episodes that Jonathan and I have both done together just with you. Obviously pulling on our expertise in letting go of unhealthy stress and really performing at the highest levels and really leveraging our energy just to be well and to be a force for good. And we absolutely love it. But there's been a lot going on in our world, you know. We've changed a lot since we first launched this podcast, and a lot's been changing in our world. So a lot of you will know that we actually moved from the UK to the UAE in 2013, and we actually then left just before COVID hit. And we ended up moving to Thailand, and we were there for a nice couple of years, and we absolutely loved Thailand. But at the end of 2022, we decided that actually we missed the UAE. We missed having that contrast of, you know, the hustle bustle, that mindset, being surrounded by people that are passionate and innovative and people that wanted to really, you know, do something and make a difference. And as much as we absolutely love Thailand and we loved waking up on the beach every morning and just being around all like the dogs on the beach and you know, sun shining and me out in my kayak and all of these cool things, like we absolutely loved it. But we realised actually that there's a lot more work to be done in our field, right? When it comes to helping people be well. We had the option of staying in Thailand. If I'm being completely transparent with you, we could have stayed in Thailand. We could have just continued coaching, keep running our online events, host some retreats over there, and you know, we could have stayed living that kind of life. And we're very grateful for that, because obviously we've built that and, you know, been working hard for a long time to be able to create that lifestyle. But what we found was that there's this calling, there's this calling to just show up more and to have more of an impact. So that's really what we've done. Like we decided to obviously come back. We're now living in Abu Dhabi again, which is the place we first started when we first moved over here to the UAE. And we have been reconnecting obviously with old friends that have been here that we know from a long time back, and connecting with new people, and it's been fantastic. We've really enjoyed being back. However, it's come with its challenges, and I think it's only fair that we share some of those challenges with you, but also we share what it is we're doing and why we're here, like how we're having more of an impact, because you know, we're not going to stop doing what we're doing. So this podcast is going to continue. We've actually just brought in another coach who is absolutely amazing, who you're going to meet very, very soon. We are really expanding. So we not only have brought on a coach to help us with the coaching side of our business and what it is we're offering, we are also working on different passion projects around the region as well, including Jonathan actually consulting and opening up a new health facility here on Yas Island in in Abu Dhabi, which is one of the reasons he's not sat next to me here today. He's absolutely loving that. It's always been a dream of his to be able to start something from scratch and build it out in terms of a health and fitness facility. So he's absolutely loving that. However, he is going to be back on the podcast. This is just me flying solo briefly to catch up with you. But yeah, Jonathan is not going anywhere. Jonathan is here to stay. And we obviously are working on really growing our reach and how we can help more people. One of the things that we've found since we've been coaching is that a lot of people obviously come to us when they're already stressed. Often they're already really stressed, they're already really burnt out. They're usually at a point where they're really looking at, okay, life can't stay this way, something needs to change, what is it? And one of the patterns that we've noticed over time, particularly with people who are employed that come to us, so people that have jobs that are generally reporting to other people, and this is at varying levels, right? This is people right on the front line in kind of customer service, all the way up to CEOs. We've had a real mix of clients that we've worked with one-on-one and in our group sessions as well. And it's been really, really interesting to see that actually a lot of these issues that people come to us can be avoided. It's almost like by the time some of these people get to us, they're almost too far downstream to be able to turn the boat around quickly and to get back on track. So we figured, what better way to make an impact than go upstream and essentially help to make sure people don't continue to be thrown in the stream so they end up needing us downstream. So we have been for the last 12 months now, actually, we've been beta testing some of the deeper corporate well-being work that we do. So for years now, we've actually always been delivering different kind of workshops in and around stress management, well-being, sleep, hydration, movement, emotional regulation, confidence. We've been delivering these kind of workshops for a long time in these kind of corporate or office settings. And this is for big businesses, small businesses, you name it. And we just felt that there was still a piece of the puzzle missing, right? There's this beautiful idea that anybody can listen to a podcast or watch a video or turn up to one workshop here and there, and suddenly they're going to have these lasting changes. And one of the reasons we started the Wellness Theory was because we're really passionate about helping people to create lasting change. So we realized that actually, having these one-off things don't always pack enough punch that's needed to really help somebody create lasting change in that kind of workshop-y setting. Now, many of you will know, from a coaching standpoint, we only work with people for a minimum of 6 months to 12 months, right, dependent on where the individual is. We don't deliver one-off sessions. We don't deliver like a 12-week thing. We don't do anything like that, because we truly believe that well-being isn't a quick fix, right? And you've probably heard us speak about that on many other episodes, but we need to really look at who it is we are when we're looking to make changes. So we decided, let's shine a spotlight on what are the reasons why in a workplace people are not seeing lasting changes. Why are 98% of people in the UAE experiencing at least one symptom of burnout, right? It's particularly in the workplace. And we want to get to the bottom of that. And the more we've dug in and looked deeper than the workshop side of things than we've been delivering, it comes back to the same root causes of what it is we deliver one-on-one with our clients, which is to get to the root cause of the issue. So what is the root cause of the burnout? What is the root cause of somebody overthinking, somebody being anxious? What is happening within that individual, but also within their ecosystem, within the world that they're living in, that is creating this life experience? And so one of the big things that we're doing is we are working with big corporates, big and small, to look at their corporate hygiene as well as the well-being of the individual. So we look at what does it look like for an individual to be healthy and well, and what does it look like to actually create a solid environment where 50, 100, 150, 1,000, 3,000, 5,000 people can actually come together and create these results. And we've had a really, really fantastic year in doing that. And being back in the UAE for the last 6 months has actually been quite critical to that impact that we're making, which is helping companies now as well as individuals to perform at the highest levels, actually be happy and healthy at the same time, because those things can coexist, those things can happen. It just requires us to have a little bit of a mindset shift. So that's just one of the other things that we're up to. We are hosting a retreat, a ladies only retreat at the end of the year as well, which is very exciting. So these are just some of the projects and some of the things that we're up to. Now, for those of you that are curious about the workplace wellbeing side of things, there's actually going to be a second podcast launching. Are we crazy for setting up 2 podcasts and keep them both running at the same time? Probably, but we always like to zig when everybody else zags, right? If you guys know us and have been following us for a long time, you know our backstory is when Jonathan and I both left our kind of steady, well-paid, high-level kind of corporate commercial fitness jobs. Everyone told us we were crazy because we was not setting up just one business, we were setting up 2 businesses. And we always like to almost like go against the grain. I don't know if it's just something in our nature or we're just like a bit rebellious at heart, I'm not sure. But anyway, that leads us into this crazy idea that we are having 2 podcasts running at the same time. We essentially have got both sides of the business continuing to run at the same time. And as wonderful as that is, it has come with its challenges, right? It's come with little stressors. And I really think it's important that you hear about some of these stressors, purely because, a lot of people often reach out to us and like, how do you stay so like healthy and happy and everything being okay? Like, but based on what they see on social media or podcasts and things like this. And I actually, I love that, like, you can feel that energy and that vibrance and vitality. Like, we absolutely do appreciate that and we love that. But also, it's really important that you see the other side of the coin, right? To keep things realistic. Because one of my pet hates about podcasts and social media is that everything is made to look shiny and wonderful. And actually, life is full of duality, isn't it? It's full of the highs and the lows, the ebbs and the flows. And that's very, very natural. And that's completely normal, and I think more people need to talk about that. One of the things that we always say is that we always want to show up completely authentically for ourselves, but for you guys as well. It's the only way I think the world goes round, really, like in a healthy way, is if we can all just show up and be completely open. And so transitioning back from Thailand to the UAE has been a bit crazy in terms of literally physically obviously moving countries again, and that comes with its own different kind of stresses. They say actually that it's like one of the top 5 things that you can do in terms of stress is to move house, and moving to a different country with like visas and licensing and obviously like furniture and all these kinds of things, it all comes into play and it can take its toll. So energy wise, it was a bit of a tricky one for a while. So for the first month or so, we wasn't secure in a place yet. We was like living in and out of hotels. We were hanging out and staying at friends' places and things like this, which is turbulent enough from a rest and energy standpoint. Again, you guys know us by now. We're always talking about quality sleep, quality like nutrition and things like this. Doesn't mean everything has to be perfect, but we have to be moving directionally correct. And that's a really tricky thing to do when you're in a transitional phase of your life. But somehow we managed to do that by keeping the basics in check. So if there's anything you take away from me kind of riffing here with you today, is that having the basics and having the foundation in check is really important. A lot of you will know that I finished the end of last year doing a kayaking challenge, which was 150 kilometers kayak around 3 different islands in Thailand. And it was amazing. I spent the whole year training for it. But then coming back mid-January to the UAE, suddenly without any kind of like fitness challenge, anything to almost keep me on the straight and narrow when it comes to being really in tune with like my fitness, was like a bit of a rug being pulled from under my feet. It was a bit of a shock to the system in many ways, because if I don't have a goal or something that I'm at least aiming for, I find it very tricky to stick with something, right? I almost like need a carrot or a stick. And I think a lot of people are like that as well, right? To be consistent and to continue to show up and get excited about something and actually enjoy the process rather than starting something and stopping. So I set some minimums, some absolute baselines. And one of those things was to just do 10,000 steps. 10,000 steps on average a day. There were some days where I wasn't doing 1,000 steps, and other days I'd obviously have to make up the difference. But 6 months in now of 10,000 steps consistently every single day. And that has been like one of my absolute baselines. That, good quality hydration, having boundaries in and around screen time has been really, really important as well. And those have kind of been like the 3 core things that have kept me in this like spinning world, because there's so many moving parts right now with both the business, with us personally, and the move and everything, and family and all these different things. And it's been really, really critical to have those basics in place. So those are almost like the basic 3. And alongside that, one of my intentions was to just make sure I get back into some form of steady strength training again, some kind of resistance training, and that's something I've been doing. So basically, going back to basics has been all I've been doing from kind of a fitness standpoint, and trying to get enough sleep. And that has seen me through, right, physically, in terms of keeping my energy relatively balanced. Don't get me wrong, there's been moments of crashes and needing to take a day off and to rearrange appointments and things like that, but very, very few and far between. And I think that's pretty good going, considering kind of some of the chaos that's been showing up in terms of like busyness. And comes to my second thing here, is that I wanted to mention. It's so easy to get sucked into the busyness of life, and I know that you listening to this can relate to this in some way, shape or form. And I think it's different for everyone. And obviously for me, it was going from those extremes of literally living on an island to coming back into an almost city kind of life. So there's obviously a bit of a big extreme and a big contrast difference there. But also with the extra responsibility that we've taken on, and the extra challenge that we've taken on with our business and with the clients that we work with, to take them to a whole nother level. So not only do we work with obviously people at the start of their journey, we also have some really cool like accountability sessions that we host, and like really helping people to keep the changes that they've made and go to an even higher level. So there's a lot going on in the mix, and it's been really overwhelming at times. And it's been so easy to potentially get sucked in, right? To get completely sucked into the push and the pull, and do you want to come out and do this thing? Do you want to come and do that thing? Whether that be a work meeting, whether that be a friend wanting to do something, whether that's just more issues that we hadn't foreseen in creating like this whole other arm to the business. And it's been a challenge, like it's been tough to do. But one of the things that I've realised is that, or reminded of at least, is that we have to come back to our own authentic pace. And this is what I wanted to really, really kind of bring home today with you, is for you to question, what is your authentic pace? You know, what is your pace of life? Are you choosing to wake up in the morning and live in what's important to you and what you value? Or are you showing up reactive and responsive, right, to everything around you? Or are you showing up with intention? Are you showing up with any kind of boundaries? Right? Because one of the fastest things that stresses me out, and I don't know if it's the same for you, and the thing that overwhelms me the most is if I go against my boundaries, or if I move towards something that isn't aligned with who I am. Classic example of this for me is overstepping boundaries. Not somebody else overstepping my boundaries necessarily, but sometimes me overstepping my own boundaries. Right? And this is really, really important, because I know we all do this all the time, and you know, some more than others, but often we will try to accommodate, and we'll try and compromise and find a happy kind of medium that works for everybody. And you know, I think that can be a really healthy thing. But sometimes I'll find myself almost like booking an appointment, and then somebody saying, oh, but can you do this day instead and this time, and it's like a day earlier. It's like, no, actually I can't. Like, I actually can't, because that time is already either committed to something else, like another commitment work-wise or family-wise, and there is actually something physically I'm doing. Or other times, being completely transparent, is because I've blocked it out because I need some breathing space like between sessions. I need to go out and get my steps. I want to go out and do something for me in between. And I know that's not always possible for everyone, but it helps me to keep an authentic pace without getting sucked in to the craziness. And I know when I start to get sucked in to the busyness of life, you know, I start to swing on this pendulum, right, of everything is like sunshines and rainbows and things, you know, are going well, so I can do more, I'm feeling passionate and everything's great. And then I go on this other extreme of things aren't happening fast enough, this hasn't happened yet, I need to do this, and I can kind of go the other way. So it's really important, and we always talk about this with people that we work with, is to come back to that center place. And boundaries often help us to stay in that center place. So what is really important for you listening to this today is we come to like halfway through the year, you're going to be seeing a lot of podcasts and a lot of content out there, most likely. We've already started to see it over the last couple of days, is have you hit your goals yet? You could start again. By the end of the year, you could have achieved this, 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 and this. And there's like so much pressure. Like, we don't need extra pressure from things like this, do we? Sometimes we just need to recheck in with ourselves and be like, okay, what is true for me? What do I need right now? So you listening to this, what do you need right now? How do you want the next 6 months to go? But more importantly, how do you want your days to look over the next week, the next month? That will start to create the rest of your year. So what do you need to say no to be able to say yes to something else? What do you need to commit to yourself that you know is going to help you to just show up in alignment with who it is you are? Because I can guarantee that you are not here to show up stressed. You're not here to be snapping at your loved ones. You're not here to feel guilty for doing something that you enjoy. You know, you're not here to struggle with decision making. You're not here to just please everybody else. You're also here to enjoy the sacredness of every day. You know, to recognize that some of the really wonderful things that you already have in your life, and you're not necessarily chasing something, right? And I have to remind myself of these things too. And because it's very, very natural, because we live in a fast-paced world and it's only getting faster. What concerns me, I went out with some friends over the Eid break, and one of them said to me they're up to like 8 hours on screen time. 8 hours. And I think I had a phase where it was probably around that. But like now, if I'm at 4 hours, I'm like, whoa, that's way too much, right? In terms of screen time. And for me, most of the time, that's more like WhatsApp and things, especially because I had a bit of a break from social media, which also I highly recommend, by the way. But it's something that is really, really important to consider for yourself. Like, is life fast for you? And if it is, how are you leaning into your authentic pace? Is it too slow for you? Do you feel like nothing is happening? Do you feel bored? Do you feel stagnant? Right? Because I felt that too. And it's so natural sometimes to go between the two as well. And we have these extremes. We want to go out all the time and do stuff, or we want to stay in and we want to be a recluse. And there's always like these extremes happen. But they only happen because it means that we've lost our own center. And it means that we need to come back to our own authentic pace. So as we move into the second half of the year, expect some fun things coming, obviously, from our side, from Wellness Theory side. I would love to hear your feedback on the kind of things that you would love to see from us in terms of the podcast, if there's any particular guests that you want to see. We obviously are going to be sharing more content again back on social media. We did have a little bit of a break because sometimes it's really important to just hit pause and step back and just look at the big picture and make sure that things are aligned. I think that's healthy, whether you run a business online or whether you're just a consumer. Like, take a step back of your life and just look at, okay, where is your time being spent? If you were hit by a bus tomorrow, what would your regrets be? Let's just actually go there for a moment and ask yourself that, because ultimately today's all we actually have. And I know you know that, and it's just a little reminder, but if we don't take these moments to pause, it can be very, very tricky for us to then step forward. So in part of our pausing and coming back and just hopping on here and having a chat with you today, I would really, really appreciate any feedback, anything you would love to see from Jonathan and I. Even if there's anything, for example, on our weekly wellness emails, if you're not part of them already, then get on the bus. I'll pop the link under the in the show notes here as well. We're always sharing different things that can be useful for anybody looking to be healthier and to be happier and to live in their own version of high performance, whatever that looks like for them. And we're always up for listening to what it is you guys want. So please, obviously, let us know anything like that, but let us know how you are, please. Like, I would love to hear from you, just to check in. Just drop an email, just say, hey, right, this is how my year's going, right? And it doesn't matter what that is. It can be good, bad, ugly, beautiful, wonderful, vibrant, anything, right? It could be all of those things. Just swing by, say hi, let's connect again. After the summer, we will be having more live in-person meetups in the UAE as well, in both Abu Dhabi and Dubai. So for you lovely people that are actually here in the region, you'll get to see us more so. Expect more different kind of events showing up that are going to be hybrid, both in person and online as well. So there's lots of things coming up still for our community, and we're really excited to continue serving you. We'll be coming up to 5 years Wellness Theory in, I want to say, September, October time, and it's a big milestone for us. Again, like a lot of companies don't make it past the first year, let alone the next 3, and we're very grateful to be here. And I just want to say a big thank you to you, because you're listening to this episode, you're watching this somewhere, you've been part of our journey, whether you've been here since the start, which I know many of you have, or if you've just come across our content here and now. I know we've been quiet for the last 6 months or so, but there's more and more to come, and there's plenty for you to go and almost like backfill if you are new to our community as well. But listen, I'm gonna clearly start waffling now, so I'm gonna wrap this up. Thank you so much just for showing up for us. For as long as you show up, we'll show up. We love you. And Jonathan doesn't actually know I'm doing this podcast, but I'm sure he would say hello and send you his love as well. If there's ever anything you guys need, please let us know. If you haven't already done our scorecard, which basically is a stress less and thrive more scorecard, where you get to go and assess how you're doing when it comes to your own well-being. You get to go and look at how stress and wellness is showing up either in your life, in your body, or deep inside your core. You can go and actually check and see, okay, well, how am I doing right now? And that can sometimes be a really amazing thing to do at these milestones throughout the year and stuff as well. So that link will be in the show notes as always for you as well. If there's anything you need, please reach out anytime. Sending you lots and lots of love. Be well.